Hey, how you guys doing? So this is step 5, and we're going to be talking about candle patterns. So, which we're looking at USD CAD on the 4-hour time frame. I believe trying to identify where the patterns are. It's always good to look at the higher time frames. That's just my perspective. So we're going to get started. So as we can see right here, this is a complete double top. So anytime you see a double top on a trend, usually it's from an uptrend market, um, you're gonna want to see that it forms and see where price got rejected. So when I like to see it makes that first shoulder, comes down and it goes back up, and you see if it gets rejected, then that's a confirmation that it's a double top. So then I put another horizontal line after it forms where I like to consider the neck. So you could have entered from here, or you could have waited. So what the normal perspective to do is allow the market to do its thing and allow it to come back up. So you could see this is where you could have gotten a nice entry up here. This is what we like to consider the retest area. So I'm gonna label this right here. So retest. This is a double top. And then right there, consider the neckline. So you got the double top, confirmation check, came down, check, that's the neckline, retrace back up, so it got rejected, and now it's coming back down because you always want to sell. So this is the low high, so this is where you're selling it, and then you're riding with the whole momentum. So down, as you guys could see, this right here is an inverted head and shoulders. So let me just delete all this. So what I like to do is that anytime the market's coming up and it forms that complete low for that nice pullback, this is where I put my horizontal line. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and then when it comes back down, this is where the right shoulder is going to be. So you're going to want to wait for a nice small pullback, which it did, and you could have entered here for a buy. So we know that the direction that it's going is because why? This is the last area of support. That's where it took off completely. So that's what it's exactly what it's doing here, and it's going to completely take off. So this is an inverted head and shoulders. So this is going to be the left shoulder. This is where your head is going to be. And this is your right shoulder. All right, perfect. So now you guys know what an inverted head and shoulder is. So an inverted head and shoulder is the complete opposite, just like right here, it made that little nice head and shoulders. This is where it made that small pullback at that reversal. Boom, head, right shoulder came down. So, and then it just did it completely opposite. So, let's see. Let's see if we could find a double bottom. All right, perfect. So this pattern right here is what we like to consider a triple bottom. So anytime that you see market come into place, so perfect, that you know that it created a low here. So market went up, came back down to this price, went up, came back. So confirmed as a triple bottom. So now you want to be buying it. So anytime that you see a triple bottom on a downtrend market, you want to be buying it. So what I like to do is that where I see that it came down first here, I would have marked up a neckline here. After this small pullback that it had, neckline came back, and now this is where you could have had your entry here because it made a nice pullback. Boom, on the neckline, would have entered. What did it do again? It came back on the neckline and it completely took off. So if you actually held it, you would profit really good. So like this is why I don't really like to um erase where my neckline is at because these are just potential entries. So like yeah, you could have just waited to see if it came back down. Usually it likes to come back down again, but but this is also considered a nice double bottom here. So like it went up and came back down and it took off. So you could have got the entry here, but this would have been the better entry because you would have had to handle with no drawdown coming back to the original entry, and it completely took off. So anytime that you see movements like this, so this is a lot of consolidation. So this is what we like to call a data range. So when I see movements like this, it's kind of called a rectangle. And what it's doing is that it's preparing itself for a strong movement. So it's just not ready yet. So I allow the market to do its thing until I have a better clear confirmation of where the market is, and then you could execute. So, this is also considered a triple bottom, but also if you eliminate here, it's considered a double bottom as well and took off. And then it did it again and took off. So as you guys can see, it did another inverted head and shoulders here. So anytime that I see that it creates a new low, this is where I'm marking up my neckline. So this is the head, this is the left shoulder, this is the right shoulder. I would have entered here for a buy and held that position because I would have had no drawdown. I would have still been in floating profits. So when you know and how to identify these patterns, always mark up your neckline where it has on the previous high low, and that's when you know that's the end of the trend. So then you could execute on a sell. So complete head and shoulders. This is your left shoulder. This is the head. This is the right shoulder. Comes back down, and this is your retest area. And retested, 3 times, and then it continued to have that nice breakdown. So you keep it short, sweet, and simple. You know these patterns, inverted hand shoulders, you identify a double bottom, identify a triple bottom, a double top, inverted head and shoulders. You just keep it really simple. And then, this is like a flag. So anytime that you see a bearish flag, you're knowing that this is going to be a potential downtrend market. So as you guys could see, if you use a trend line, this is what I like to call bearish flag. So you could see that, price was creating high, creating lows, creating highs, creating low, and then it was losing momentum. And then this was the breakout completely. You guys could see that? So, and then it made another bullish flag here. So this was a breakout completely. And of course, it came all the way back down, identify with the triple bottom, and then also made a double bottom, and then had a complete breakout. So keeping it short and simple, you know these patterns. I'm telling you, on the higher time frames, you're able to identify them and just mark them up, and then all you do is just allow the market to do its thing and then execute. So I hope this was very helpful. Stay tuned for step 6, which I break down to follow your trading plan. Keep it short, sweet, and simple. All right, guys, take care.